There are people who save every dollar and still never feel safe. They check their accounts constantly. They have more than enough. They're doing everything right. And yet, deep down, there's always this quiet fear that it's not enough. This isn't about being cheap, and it's not about discipline. It's about psychology. Because when someone hoards money, they're usually not hoarding cash. They're hoarding safety. Let's talk about what's really going on. For some people, money doesn't represent freedom. It represents protection. It's a shield against chaos, against surprise, against the feeling of being out of control. Often, this starts early. Maybe they grew up in a household where money was unpredictable. Bills caused arguments, jobs came and went. Stability wasn't guaranteed. So the brain learned a simple rule: more money equals less danger. That belief sticks around even when life gets stable. Spending doesn't feel like enjoyment. It feels like exposure, like lowering the drawbridge. And that's why even small purchases can cause stress, not because the money matters, but because safety feels threatened. Another trait that shows up again and again is loss aversion. Psychologists have studied this for decades. Losing a dollar hurts more than gaining a dollar feels good. In fact, it hurts about twice as much. For someone who hoards money, this effect is amplified. The emotional pain of seeing their balance drop outweighs the joy of what that money could provide. So they avoid spending, they delay decisions, they stick with later. Not because they don't want the experience, but because the loss feels unbearable. Then there's control. This is a big one. People think money hoarding is about greed. It's not. It's about control. Knowing exactly where every dollar is, tracking every movement, feeling calm only when the numbers stay untouched. The account balance becomes an emotional thermostat. When it's high, they feel calm. When it drops, anxiety spikes, even if nothing else in life has changed. The money isn't the goal. The sense of control is. And here's where things quietly start to turn unhealthy. Preparation slowly replaces living. There's always one more milestone to hit, one more year, one more bonus, one more market cycle. I'll relax after this. I'll spend once things feel more certain. I'll enjoy it later. But later keeps moving. Because the truth is, certainty never actually arrives. Eventually, preparation becomes a permanent state. Safety becomes a prison. Another common trait is regret avoidance. These people aren't trying to maximize happiness. They're trying to minimize regret. They don't want to look back and think, I shouldn't have spent that. I retired too early. I made the wrong move. So they choose inaction, because doing nothing feels safer than choosing wrong. But here's the uncomfortable part. Inaction is still a choice, and time is the one asset you can't save. There's also an identity component that most people don't talk about. Many money hoarders see themselves as the responsible one, the planner, the adult in the room, the person who doesn't mess things up. They've built an identity around discipline. Spending threatens that identity. Enjoyment feels suspicious. Relaxation feels reckless. If they loosen their grip, there's a quiet fear underneath it all. Who am I if I'm not the careful one? That question keeps a lot of people stuck. Now, it's important to say this clearly. None of this means someone is broken. These traits usually come from intelligence, awareness, and survival instincts. They learned how to protect themselves. That matters. But survival mode isn't meant to be permanent. At some point, the skill that kept you safe starts holding you back. Saving is smart. Discipline is powerful. But money was never meant to only make you feel safe. It's also meant to be used intentionally, meaningfully, and without constant fear. Real wealth isn't just having enough. It's feeling secure enough to actually live, to spend without panic, to enjoy without guilt, to trust that you've built something solid and you don't have to guard it like it might disappear tomorrow. Because if money only ever reduces fear but never increases freedom, then it's not serving you. And the goal isn't to stop being careful. The goal is to stop being afraid. That's the difference between saving and hoarding. And once you see that difference, your relationship with money can finally change.